Alright, so we're going to make flat grilled bread. And so to do that we use, I started with the basic pizza dough recipe from Artisan Bread in 5 minutes a day. Alright, and for that we need 2 3/4 cups of water. This might not be the exact recipe that they have in there. This is how I've adapted it to do what I'm doing. 1/4 cup of olive oil. The water is warm, about 105 degrees. 1.5 tablespoons of yeast. 1.5 tablespoons of salt. 1.5 tablespoons of white sugar. And to this bread I add 1.5 tablespoons of Italian seasoning. This is the one I have today. I want to give that a quick mix so that all of this stuff is incorporated into the water. The oil don't want to mix right now, which is what you're going to expect. I'm going to put in, this is 6 cups of flour that's been measured. It's loose, never pack your flour. Put a little bit in, and I make a little bit of a slurry here to get everything to mix up, to help keep the oil and water and all the spices kind of floating around more evenly than just dumping all 6 cups in at once. You can use a whisk or you can use a spoon. And once that's in, go ahead and add the rest of your flour, total of 6 cups. And then start to mix it. With your hands is just fine. You can get a feel for your dough if you use your hands. And yes, it's gloppy and sticky at first, way wet and way dry in different places. Just keep mixing it. You'll see it magically come together and form one big ball that all wants to stick to itself. Stick more and more to itself and less to the bowl. We only need to mix it until it's all nice and smooth. Shouldn't have any dry spots in there, and you can feel it when you do it with your hands. You can do it with a wooden spoon or something as well. Next, we cover it loosely with a clean tea towel and let it sit for 2 hours. We're back, and now this has been able to rise for 2 hours. And now what we're going to do is we're going to use some flour so that we can release some of this. We're going to pull off a few pieces so that we can make 4 pieces of flatbread, and the rest we can stick in the refrigerator and use up to 2 weeks later. Okay, so now that we've got some flour in there and we want to pull off a piece, you can literally reach in like so, pull off a piece, got it. Throw some more flour down here so you have somewhere to work. I'm going to take the drier part of the dough is called the cloak. You want to fold the cloak to the outside. That will help you in being able to press it without it sticking to you too much. Press it out. Boom. Get lucky, you can pull it off like that. Alright, so I have 4 of my flatbreads pressed out. The rest of the dough is back in the refrigerator, and like I said, I can use that up to 2 weeks later. I have my grill warming up over here, and you can see the thingy which tells temperature has us at 450 degrees. We want to start at least there when we get started. And we're going to take our bread. You don't want it to set on your parchment paper too long or it'll stick. Drop it right on the grill, like so. Give it 90 seconds. All right, so that was about 90 seconds. Let's take a look. All right, and now that they've started to cook, you can flip them. If you try to do this when they're not ready, they won't move. Like that. That one should have stayed a little bit longer as that one. But they'll be all right. The bread is very forgiving. We'll cook it a little bit more on the other side. It'll be delicious. All right, looks like we're about 90 seconds. Let's give it a check. All right, this back one here is beautiful. Yes, that looks good. Look at that. Perfect. That one's looking pretty good. That one looks good. See, that's what we're looking for right there. It's going to be cooked all the way through. A little bit light on this side. We're all right. Still going to taste just fine. There we are. Fire bread. 2 hours of waiting in the middle, but really it took us about 12 minutes to take care of all of that.